welcome back to Sweet Yellow House. It has been a minute, but I am so happy to be back. Today we are working on some projects that were damaged or refound from being pushed aside. I am struggling with my allergies, so excuse my voice or the coughing. And with that, let's go ahead and get started with these projects. So project 1 are these 2 little rooster frames that I have had for a very, very, very long time. I think I found them like under a table or something while I was cleaning out my storeroom. So the first thing I'm going to do is take these apart, and I'm going to take them outside and spray them with white flat spray paint from Behr. And then after those are dry, I'm going to bring them in, and they have these little like metal attachments to these little frames. So I meant to cut those out, but then realized that I could just pull them away from the actual frame. So I'm going to go ahead and toss those aside, and then using a little sanding block, I'm just going to kind of get some of that rough edges off from pulling away those metal pieces. So I'm going to use some of the pieces that I made for a project that was from weeks ago, and I'm going to use the super Loctite to glue those on. So I'm just kind of measured out what I needed to on these frames, and then I'm going to start gluing those odd and end pieces that I had from there. So just I kind of worked out a pattern beforehand, but then I'm just kind of fitting everything where I think I like it. I did both frames exactly the same, in the same kind of pattern with the flowers, and once I got those all glued in place, then I'm just gonna go in and make sure that everything is glued down well, that nothing is kind of loose on there. So another project that I had were these little plates that I got from the dollar store, and they're kind of like chalkboard little labels, I guess they are. They're kind of made out of like a really thin wood type stuff. They're not paper. So I had some extra resin pieces left over, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that same Loctite glue and glue a piece on each of these little labels. After I have that done, I'm going to grab Fusion buttermilk cream, and like I said before, this is the perfect yellow, matches my house perfectly. And then I'm also going to grab this Dixie Belle mint julep. I haven't used this color before, but I thought it was really pretty, so I'm going to start with that and go ahead and stir that up and put some in a cup, and then add a little bit of the salt wash in there. Not a whole lot, because I don't want to cover up a lot of that detail in those little flowers, because they are pretty fragile. They're very dainty, so I don't want that salt wash to kind of clump up all of those. So I just put a little bit in there, and I'm just going to start painting that frame with a smaller paintbrush, just so that I can get into all of those little details. Once I have that one completed, I'm going to put it aside and do the exact same thing with that Fusion buttermilk color. I'm going to dry those with my embossing gun, just making sure that I'm not kind of boiling up that paint. So just keep it moving, and once I have that dried, I'm going to turn it over and paint the backs of those frames. I'm gonna do the exact same thing to the little labels that I made, just making sure that I have full coverage on all of those. I'm doing half of them in that Fusion and the other half in that Dixie Belle. So once that's on there, I grab the folk art antiquing wax, and I'm just going to put a little bit on a lid and then add some of that white wax and mix it together. I'm just kind of taking down the intensity of that antiquing wax, and then I'm going to use a small brush and just start adding that to the frames as well as the labels and feathering that out. I don't want a severe intense antiquing. I just want a hint of it so your eye knows it's there and it's bringing out detail, but it's not taking over those colors. The reason that I'm doing this is because those colors are really fragile. They're really light and I don't want it to overwhelm. So I'm going to grab the plaid gilding paint, and I'm going to use a brush and just highlight all of those details in the frames and in the little labels. I really love that gold gilding paint. It's just a lovely, beautiful, has a color gold, it has a great shine to it, and I think that it just gives it a little bit more something than just the gold wax. These are not very big frames, but they do give a really nice impact of color and elegance, and these little labels are just great for a gift or to hang off a package or anything like that. You can actually use like a marker or something and write on these a name or something like that, or even, you know, paint it on with some gold paint or something. So project 2 is a really quick turnaround. I bought this umbrella stand, I believe that's what it is, quite a while ago, and it's just kind of been pushed in back in my shed. We use it sometimes to put like kindling in for the fireplace, and it's gotten really dinged up. So I thought I'd just kind of give it a little upgrade and make it more of kind of like a rustic elegance. So I'm gonna use the transfer from IOD on this, and these have some really nice colors on it, and the transfer is Saint Germain. The combination of colors along with that brass is just gorgeous, and you've seen everybody do transfers. I think just with this, you want to make sure, first of all, that you're wiping off that brass project, just because if it has, you know, some dust or something like that, your transfer may not stick as well as it should. this is so simple, but it just leveled up that umbrella stand. And now I'm not sure if I'll let my husband put those kindling pieces in there. So project 3 is a little piggy cutting board. I got this so long ago, and I never really thought about what I was going to do with it. So I'm going to do something today. I finally had enough of it kind of floating around. So I'm going to give it a good sand because it was a little kind of yucky, and then after that I wipe it down, and I'm going to use this Dixie Belle olive wood. I love this color. It's like in between a light green and tan. It's just the perfect shade. So I'm going to give this cutting board a couple of coats, front and back, and making sure that I'm drying it in between coats with my embossing gun. My idea when I saw this, or kind of like when I kind of was thinking about what I was going to do with it, was I wanted a vintage type cafe sign, and I thought that this would do the trick. So I'm just drying that, and once I have that done, I'm getting the Home Sweet Home transfer book from IOD, and this just came out in their summer release, and it has a lot of really great transfers on there. So I'm just going through the booklet. I'm going to cut out some of the elements from there and just kind of arrange them in a way that I think looks good, that looks like a cafe sign that I would then hang up. And I'm just kind of working out that design before I settle on anything. Once I have that all settled, then I start removing those and applying them to the board. So now I'm going to antique this, because if it's been hanging outside as a sign, obviously it's going to get some wear and tear. So I'm just kind of roughing it up with a sanding block, and then I'm going to wipe all of that back. Then I grab my Debbie's DIY dark wax, and I'm just going to do a coat over this board, and that's going to do a couple of things. It's going to antique it, obviously, but it also is going to seal in those transfers. I just put that on and wipe it off, and making sure that I'm also getting around the edges of that cutting board, making sure that everything is sealed in well. So that's how it looks after the dark wax is applied to that. And some of that paint came through. The board came through from when I sanded it, and that's fine with me. It just adds to it. So I'm going to add these eye hooks and this chain, but first I'm taking them out, and I'm going to spray them with a matte black from Behr spray paint, which is one of my favorite spray paints out there. So I'm just going to mark where I'm going to put those eye hooks. I did open those up so I can add the chain to them. And then just using my drill, I'm going to pre-drill those holes and then screw in those eye hooks and attach the chain. I don't know why, but when I look at this, I think of like an old little cafe that's in England, and I don't know why it's giving me those vibes, but that's the kind of vibes that I'm getting. So I've just added that. I close up those eye hooks so that it keeps that chain in there, and that's it. I really like the way that this turned out. It's really cute. And like I said, it looks like something that would hang out of a vintage old England type of cafe. And I like that transfer book too. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it or use it, but yeah, a lot of great projects have come out of that from other creators. So project 4 is a covered silver dish. Again, I've had this for some time, and I don't know, I was just kind of stumped on what to do with it. So, but the first thing is I'm going to clean it up and take it outside and spray it with the bare flat white spray paint. And then I'm going to use this buttermilk cream from Fusion again. My idea was that I would actually use this under in my patio just to kind of put things like, you know, citronella candles and matches and things like that in, and it would match the house. So I'm using this. I'm giving everything really good coats, drying in between the coats with my embossing gun. And I think by the time it was all said and done, I did about 3 coats, just because it's going to kind of be outside in the elements. It'll be, you know, undercover, but still also in the elements. So I just want to make sure that that paint is not going to kind of start chipping off of there. I think I started out with a really good base, was that spray paint, because that's also acts as a primer. So after I have that all done, I grab the Saint Germain, and I'm going to grab some elements out of this, some floral, beautiful floral elements that are have a really great combination in colors, and I'm just going to start applying that. The great thing about this dish is that you can totally use you know, it, like turn it over and use it for put a candle in there or anything to kind of hold things. It has a lot of different uses. So once I have those all put on, I grab my Jolie clear finishing wax, and I'm going to go over all of that little tray so that I will seal in those transfers. The paint has its own sealant, but you have to seal those transfers in or they won't be protected and may scratch off and stuff like that easier. We are currently using this tray, like I said, in my little patio pergola in the front of my house, and it just sits on the table and has all the little sundries in there, the little citronella candles with some matches and things like that that I just don't want sitting out in the open. And I think those colors along with that yellow is just gorgeous. So project 5 is a little cake stand or pastry stand that I've had outside. It's pretty beat up from the weather, so I'm going to start off by just removing some pieces that have kind of started coming up or coming off, and so that was a little bit hard to remove. It was like a piece of metal on top of there. So once I have that removed, I'm just kind of sanding this down so that I can remove anything that's kind of come up, you know, that rough edges or anything like that from the weather. So once I have all that done and clean, I'm grabbing DIY Cottage Colors Crockery, which I love this color. It's the perfect shade of cream and a white creamy color that's just great. So many things I use this on. So I'm going to do a good 2 coats on this little stand here. Then I have this Chanticleer mold IOD, and I have some leftover Rooster castings from earlier, and again I'm going to use that crockery and go over this little mold that I use resin to make. So once I have that all done and dried, I grab the Debbie's DIY dark wax, and I'm just going to put a coat over this little rooster and bring out all of that detail that's there. And before I do that, I'm going to put a coat over that base as well. I didn't go hard on this. I just wanted to kind of antique it and deepen that crockery color. And so I'm just adding it and wiping it back pretty fast. I have this wire cloche that I've had, I don't know, for some time, and I ordered it from somewhere. I think it was somewhere like Studio McGee or something. It came in a set of 2. Maybe it was Antique Farmhouse or something, but it came in a set of 2, and so they've just kind of been floating around the house. I haven't really used them much for anything, so I just wanted to kind of jazz it up. So once I have that rooster done, I'm going to grab this like nylon type of, it's more like a, I don't know what you would call it, but it's made out of nylon. It's pretty sturdy. So I'm just going to grab a piece, and then I'm going to attach that rooster using this, just so that rooster is pretty heavy. So you need something pretty sturdy, and I'm just using the Loctite super glue for that. I really love how this came out. It's just, it's a simple, quick turnaround, but it has a really great presence, and you can put candles under there or anything like that that you kind of want to emphasize in your decor. So thanks so much for watching and spending your time with me. I appreciate you guys hanging on and just bearing with me while life happens like it has to all of us. And I will see you soon.